I want to start off with one simple question. Did the Lakers actually win free agency? Because depending on who you ask, the offseason was either a masterclass by Rob Pelinka or this was one of the biggest smoke and mirror summers we've seen probably in years. I mean, for once, I've actually have to give Rob Pelinka just a little bit of credit. This time, he didn't just sit on his hands. I'll give him that. He didn't just wait until training camp. He didn't waste Luka Doncic's first full offseason as the face of the franchise. Luka reportedly wanted an elite center. Pelinka went out there and got Walker Kessler. Is he as elite as on paper? We'll have to figure that out and we'll speak on that later. But Lakers got younger. They got deeper. They've added a little bit of shooting. They added a little bit of defense if you want to bring it to that on paper. It looks good. But here's my problem. Basketball ain't played on paper. This isn't NBA 2K. This isn't fantasy basketball. This ain't a simulation where everybody reaches their damn overall rating. This shit right here is real life. And in real life, I still don't think this Lakers team is ready to compete for any type of championship. Rob Pelinka finally did listen to his superstars. That's what you want to say. If you want to say he did right by Luka, fine. One criticism I've had to give Rob Pelinka over the years is simple. Too often it felt like he was reacting instead of planning. This offseason, I mean, with everything that happened, LeBron leaving and all that, I'll give Pelinka credit. He identified Luka's biggest needs and he addressed it. Good, bad, or indifferent. Luka wanted a rim protector. Boom, you get Walker Kessler. Luka needed more perimeter defenders. You pick up Quentin Grimes. You need another scorer. You grab Colin Sexton. Or you need another wing. They just recently picked up the boy Matisse Thybulle. You looking for size. They picked up Looney. You need another versatile forward. You got Mamo. So for once, you can actually consider seeing a vision with these Lakers after the last few weeks, man. This roster, I believe, does fit around Luka. Maybe not better than last year, but it doesn't seem to be total trash. So I guess that's kind of progress if you want to say it that way. But here's where I pump the brakes. Everybody keeps saying, look how younger the Lakers got, and that's cool. But young doesn't mean automatically getting better. Young doesn't automatically means the best. Young means inconsistency. Youth means mistakes. Youth means growing pains. This roster is full of guys still trying to prove that they belong. Not so much as in the NBA, but just being identified either as a star, somebody deserving a contract. Like it's a lot with some of these individual Laker players. You got Walker Kessler, who to me, in my eyes, he still has to prove that he can anchor a contender. What was he doing really in Utah that was really when we talk about competing? What did he have to do? Quentin Grimes still has to prove that he's worth the contract. Got Jaden Hardy, who has never played meaningful basketball for a winning team before. Jake LaRavia, he still hasn't proven to me that he's a long-term starter. Ronnie James, he's still developing. Cameron Carr, he's a rookie. Zaire Williams, I mean, he's trying to revive his career. It's a whole lot of ifs when we talk about this Laker roster. And in my eyes, championship teams don't usually rely on so many unanswered questions. And on top of that, losing talent matters too. Let's be clear. Everybody's celebrating who arrived, trying to fool themselves, but who's talking about who left? LeBron, who done went, Rui done went, Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard. I mean, you lost DeAndre Ayton and Jackson Hayes for what it's worth. You know, that's a lot of NBA experience walking out the door. Say whatever you want about LeBron. He still demanded double teams. He still controlled basketball games. He led this same Lakers team, well, not this actual team, but he led the Lakers last year to the second round. He's still elevating his teammates. You don't replace that overnight. Rui gave you scoring. Luke Kennard gave you elite shooting, in my opinion. Marcus Smart, he brought that toughness. Aiton gave you size for what it's worth. Hayes, he wasn't, nothing to really be so, I guess, gung-ho about, but at least he knew the system. You didn't just lose players, in my opinion. You lost a little bit of chemistry. Does guys like Walker Kessler change everything? Or I don't know. Walker Kessler is probably the best move of the offseason. There's no denying that. I'll give Rob Pelinka that when we talk about what the Lakers have done. Luka finally gets the lob threat that he wanted. The Lakers finally have a rim protector since AD is gone. Defensively, Kessler fills a massive hole. But here's my concern when we talk about him. Look what the Lakers had to give up. They overpaid this boy, first of all. Future first round picks are gone. Future pick swaps are gone. That's expensive. Walker better become an all defensive caliber center sooner than later, because if he doesn't, those draft picks are going to haunt this franchise, in my opinion, for years. This Lakers team is banking on a lot of internal growth, and I don't know if that's good or not. The Lakers aren't just hoping Luka carries them. They're betting on development. The Lakers are also betting on Austin Reeves becoming an all-star for once. They betting on Walker Kessler taking another leap. They betting on Quentin Grimes to become a consistent starter. I believe this team is also betting on, Bronny James to keep improving. They betting on Jaden Hardy to finally have a breakout season. The Lakers are also betting on Jake LaRavia, to earn the power forward spot. That's a lot of bets. This seems like more of Las Vegas than Los Angeles. And history says not all those bets be hitting. That's why I'm so cautious about everything. And then on top of everything above all, we haven't seen these guys play together. This is the biggest reason why I'm not handing out an A grade when we talk about did the Lakers win or lose in free agency. Nobody has played a game yet. Everybody looks good in July, y'all. Y'all know this. Every fan base thinks that they had a great offseason, and every front office, wins the press conferences. Banners, though, are not won in July. Chemistry isn't built on social media. You don't know who can close games until you're in close games. You don't know who sacrifices until somebody loses minutes. You don't know who fits with real basketball until it starts. That's why I'm sitting around waiting. My report card, if we grade an effort, I'll give Rob Pelinka close to an A. He was aggressive. It seems like he had a plan. He didn't waste any time, especially with LeBron being gone. If we're grading roster construction, that's the biggest unknown. I'm not sold on this team, bro. I'm giving it a C plus for the construction. Some pieces make sense. Roster is younger. I'll give him credit for that. I'm hoping that the defense can improve a little bit. If we're grading championship expectations for this Lakers, they totally fit. Because I still don't see that this team is actually better than last year's Lakers. Not by a long shot. And until I see them play together, I'm not buying all the hype of these Laker fans acting like that Rob Pelinka really has done something special post LeBron. Did this team win free agency or did they lose? Here's where I stand, yo. Did Rob Pelinka finally do his job? Yeah, I'll give him that. He listened to Luka. He attacked weaknesses. I mean, he rebuilt the roster for what he had, what was available to him as far as the guys that was out there. I do think Rob Pelinka deserves a little bit of credit for being aggressive, but aggressive don't automatically equal successful. This roster is built on projection, not production. It's built on upside, not proven playoff success. There are too many young players expected to contribute immediately on these Lakers, bro. It's just too many new faces trying to build chemistry. Too many role players trying to step into bigger responsibilities. Could it work? I mean, absolutely, it could work. Could Luka elevate everybody around him? Of course. But until I see real basketball, bro, real defensive rotations, real late game execution, I'm not going for it, yo. I'm not going to call this offseason a quote unquote win. Not just yet. Because if we keeping it real, if we being honest, the Lakers didn't just add talent. They also lost a lot of talent. And I think that's the part that Laker fans are keep forgetting. Being so hell bent on wanting LeBron to be gone. But now that I think about it, being honest, We could play devil's advocate with this. There's always two sides to a coin. We both know that. What if I'm looking at this all wrong? Because maybe I'm being not giving Rob Palenka enough praise. Maybe Laker fans that are actually celebrating this offseason as a win, as a victory, actually got a point. I mean, when was the last time we criticized the Lakers for being too old? Seems like every year. Every single year we complain about the roster being slow and injury prone and built around aging veterans. We beg Rob Palenka to build a roster that could actually grow with the franchise instead of constantly patching holes. And with the sacrifices that was made, that's what he did. So I guess if I'm a criticize him for finally doing what fans have been asking him for, I mean, I think maybe I'm moving the goalpost. I gotta consider that. I don't really feel it 100%. But because this roster doesn't revolve around LeBron James anymore, it revolves around Luka. That's a completely different blueprint. I'll say that. And Luka doesn't need another ball dominant superstar next to him. He needs athletes. I believe he needs shooters. I believe Luka needs defenders. He's gonna need guys in LA who can run the floor, protect the rim, finish plays without demanding the basketball each and every damn possession. And if you look at it through the lens, Walker Kessler, he makes perfect sense. Um, Austin Reeves was pretty much handpicked, I believe, by Luka. So, he makes sense for what Luka got going and what he desires. Quentin Grimes, Matisse Thybulle, Colin Sexton, Kevon Looney, on paper, in a way, they all make sense. Every one of those guys fill a basketball need instead of simply just being a recognizable name. That is kind of what's considered as being roster construction. Maybe Rob Palenka finally stop chasing headlines and start chasing fit. I just don't know how we're going to measure it until we actually see these guys on the floor. How many championships would the Lakers realistically winning if they bought everybody back? LeBron and Rui. I mean, maybe one, which I think is big, huge. Title 18. LeBron was going to leave regardless, though. Marcus Smart wasn't a long-term answer. Luke Kennard, he does struggle defensively. DeAndre Ayton, don't get me started with him. Sometimes I think standing still is actually moving backwards. Maybe this front office of the Lakers, Mark Walters, Rob Palenka, and whoever, they realized that the current version of this Lakers roster, maybe had already reached its ceiling. Maybe they wasn't trying to maintain a playoff team in the first place. Maybe they was trying to build a championship team 3 years from now. I'm just looking at the window that Luka has, and if you're looking to appease to him, he only got a 3 to 4 year window. But that's a completely different objective than what you had with James. I'm Seven Mitchell. This is Lakers Land. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the Lakers this offseason. Did Rob Palenka win free agency for this organization? I'm kind of torn 50-50. But there are some things that I do appreciate Rob doing. Like I said, not freezing up, not sitting on his hands. But ultimately, this roster to me does not convince me of anything anytime soon.